Hey everybody, so this is the promised Q&A session that we said that we would do.
Welcome to the Q&A with the Junkie Trundlers.
We were really surprised how many questions there were actually.
Yes.
So we'll do our best to answer them anyway.
If we've forgotten something, just message us and we'll answer.
Absolutely. So,
before we start, there's a lot of gear related stuff. We will make a gear video where we go through. So if something gear related we haven't answered, there's a good chance it'll be in the gear video.
yeah, we're actually going to do a couple, because otherwise this video will end up as being even bigger than our other ones.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the Q&A, which we're doing now. We'll do a short gear video, such as it is. There's lots of questions there, lessons learned. We've had quite a few questions about what's next.
Yes.
So there's going to be a Chonky Trundlers
Future plans.
What's Next video. And we'll probably do some sort of roundup as well of the overall Camino thing.
Alright, let's get to it.
Okay, hit it.
Question number 1. What camera equipment are you using?
That's a nice easy one. So basically we are using iPhone 15s. They are brilliant. We did test lots of different things actually before we came. We do have a little bit of camera equipment, including the DJI.
We've got some good cameras, but for space and charging reasons, we tried to do it without. We just got the new iPhones here. So
And the software is brilliant. The zoom, the cinematic effect, and also especially the stabilizing.
I know, it's like you're really zoomed in and the phone is doing this,
Yeah.
but then you look at the video and it's all smooth.
So iPhone 15, we do have a Joby sort of like little Gorilla Pod,
Yeah.
which has been incredibly useful. And also, of course, we have Hedwick,
Yes.
who is
yes.
a DJI Mini Pro 4 drone. Awesome, because of the built-in safety features. It's almost Chunky Trundler proof. You have to work
You only
quite
pressed
hard.
him once.
Yeah, and you know, that took some doing.
We also carried microphones that we didn't use.
Yes. So I hope that answers that one.
Check. Okay. Availability of water fountains, and are they safe?
There were quite a lot of water fountains.
And we're only on the spiritual variant did we find that we were sort of
A
little bit short.
Yeah, but by and large, we only carried one 750 milliliter water bottle each. We had a clip from did we get that clip-on thing?
CPACs from in the States, we can link it.
Really, really useful, because if your water bottle is out of reach and difficult to get to, we found you don't use it.
No, we sometimes I would carry an emergency Coca-Cola for extra boost, but that's just my junking, so.
And also, from personal experience at least, we have not had any problems from using the water fountains.
No.
They're labelled though, aren't they?
There are a few that says non-potable, and I guess that's because it's mainly a fountain where it reuses its own water, but there's also been many of the ones you have to squeeze to make run. They are all part of the drinking water network, I think. Because most of them had many of them had a little sign saying that it's safe to drink. So.
Yeah, so basically we've not had any water issues, plus there's cafes Amundo, certainly on the littoral route at least. What's next?
Did you pre-book accommodation? The answer is yes.
Yes, we did, for various reasons. Number one is Tina and I are both planners.
Sorry.
So breaking that habit was really hard. Plus it is our first Camino that we've waited 5 years to do.
Double plus, we realized that many of the albergues and private albergues are not open yet.
We started on the 24th of Feb, which meant we're out of season, so accommodation was less anyway.
Yeah.
There's pluses and minuses to booking all your accommodation. Of course, you have
zero flexibility.
No flexibility. If we'd have hurt ourselves or something else, you know.
If we'd missed a boat.
Yeah. So there was risk to that, but also then there's the peace of mind for us at least.
Yeah.
In future we would be more flexible.
Definitely. Now we know how it all works.
Yeah.
And we'll trust in the Camino a bit more than we did in in planning stages.
But in this one, we did book.
I think part of it was also we wanted to feel like we were getting closer to going. This was ages ago, so.
Yeah. So, but we are planning people, and we just couldn't break that habit.
I think in general, when we talk to other peregrinos, everybody seems to be booking 2-3 days ahead.
Yeah.
Very few are, I don't know where I'll sleep tonight. I think only one, the dude from Ireland.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it works after COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one.
Yeah.
How did you decide where to stop?
Basically, we
This
used.
was quite the operation, people.
It was. We had
Two Macs.
multiple laptops open, iPads, phones.
2 phones, some iPads, so one could look at Google Maps and try and find the address of where we had booked last.
Yeah.
And see what was, about 10 kilometers or so on the route. What would that look like? And would there be accommodation? Could we find any in Booking.com or Airbnb? So yeah, that was, and then it all got meticulously noted on a piece
And
of
then
paper.
we had, the other person had
Camino Ninja.
Camino Ninja open, so we could obviously
See the
make
actual
sure.
route.
And I would say 98% of the time that was pretty good.
Yes,
It
it was
worked very
always slightly longer than we had anticipated, so I'm glad we went short, but
Yep.
that's just something for you to know if you are a
Yep.
planner like us.
Okay.
Did you take sleeping bags or sleeping bag liners? Yes and no. We talked about taking sleeping bags. We had some very thin, light ones. In the end, we decided not to because we have not been going to hostels or,
Not albergues.
Albergues. We've
Yeah.
been in some private hostels. And they all have quilts, and we have not frozen, I would say. We did take sleeping bag liners, but we left them partway through because they were too heavy and we hadn't used them.
Yeah.
Now, I refer to it as the hell bag because you can't move your legs in them, and I absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
So that would be a desperate measure.
Now, we did stay in some private albergues, some private little hostels, as
I had
well
plenty
as
of blankets.
hotels, but we stayed in a campsite,
Yeah.
and even that had bedding and everything else. We did bring inflatable pillows,
Yes.
which we used only once.
Yeah, the pillows have been pretty good.
By and large, they're good, but sometimes they've been a bit
There was that one time it was like a folded napkin, it wasn't good.
Yeah, but no, we did not need bedding or anything else because we've been using private accommodation.
Now, do you do hostels, albergues only? You will probably need something. We talked to someone who slept at the Amentira Monastery, and that was apparently so you could see your breath.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll note is, I'll mention it really quickly, but in the gear review I'll go into more detail. I have a very, very small hot water bottle, which has really come in handy.
Yeah.
I've used that a lot, so that's maybe worth
We also brought a towel, a little towel, which again we only used once.
And that was stupid because we could have just opened the last cabinet and found the towels.
Yeah, so
which we did after.
we didn't need it, but there again, that's because we were in private accommodation.
Yeah. Did you bring bedding and towels?
I think
Bedding,
we just
we
kind of
definitely
answered that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you bring supplies like tea and coffee and such?
No, is the short answer. We basically travelled without supplies by and large. The only time we brought supplies with us is we would maybe buy them the night or so before if we knew we were going to hit a stage with very few resources.
But for tea and coffee, for instance, if we had a rest day planned, sure, we would buy instant coffee, but we wouldn't carry it between. You could have done, no problem, but
We just bought small ones and then left them behind.
Yeah. Did you bring cash or mainly pay with cards?
It was a combination. We found no issue using our UK bank cards. I would say the vast majority of the time.
There was times like on the boat, I think, was it the boat? No, we prepaid the boat. There was something, was it the taxi? Anyway,
think
someone would only take cash.
Once
and
you
that's
get
good to
out
know.
of Porto
Yeah.
and outside of the cities, you may well find that some of the smaller cafes
Yes.
and shops will not take a foreign bank card or just doesn't take cards at all. And so I would definitely carry some cash with you.
But there is ATM, so you can
There
get
are
some.
plenty of ATMs.
Yeah. What is your daily budget?
So for us, we basically set a limit of around £100 per day. So I think that comes to about 115 euros, something like that. I would say most days about 50% of that budget would be on accommodation. We tried to limit our accommodation to around £50 per day, and I think on average it did that. We had some that was much below that, and then some where we sort of treated ourselves.
Yeah.
But we've not done the full calculation, but I would say for us, staying in the accommodation that we did, and we didn't sort of skimp on the food or anything else.
This was our celebration after 5 years.
Absolutely. So for us, our budget was around £100 per day.
How did toilets work, and did you need to use the bush toilets? We're getting to the meat of it now.
Yeah. So for me, as a man, it was very easy. There was plenty of toilets around.
Yes, I think a couple of times they asked for you to leave a couple of coins just to pay for using, because someone would come in and clean them, and that was fine. But it's not. There were also coin-operated ones, but I think we tried one and that didn't work.
That's because you need my suggestion there would be to carry a few €1 and 50 cent coins, because some of the toilets are coin operated and they won't take a €1, so you needed the 50 cents. The toilets, I would say that we came to public toilets, were clean and very good.
Many of the beaches we walked past in the beginning actually had public toilets open, and they had soap and paper in, so that was perfect.
Now, speaking as a woman.
Right, yes, so for the tinkling part, I have bought I'll call it a piddle cloth. I'll show it in the gear video. It's a little square thing that snaps together, so it kind of looks like a little triangle. You hang it off your backpack. One side is waterproof, the other side is not, of course, and then in the middle there's a silver laced sort of hygiene layer, I guess. So you just dab, and then you put it in with the washing, and you can reuse it.
And it means you're not leaving toilet roll all over the place.
I mean, you could take toilet roll and then maybe some single-use plastic gloves, and then wrap it up and then put it back in your backpack with no problem.
Yeah.
Just don't leave paper out. That's bad.
But by and large, toilets were not an issue.
No,
and we never had to use the bush toilet for number twos.
No. Yeah, there are plenty of cafes.
There's always been cafes, public toilets, or something.
And it's an excellent excuse to go and get a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
What navigation did you use, and are the arrows trustworthy?
Good question. As a daily thing, we did use Camino Ninja because it shows you your live position on the route. However, I would say use common sense, because sometimes there's a new bit of route that Camino Ninja has not been updated to yet. But also we didn't want to be looking at our phones the whole time.
No.
And I would say in the vast majority of cases, the arrows are good.
Yes. Now, also with the common sense, if you walked for a while and all you see are yellow sprayed arrows, not the signs or official marks or the little tiles that's put up, you might want to check if you're going off-piste a little bit towards someone who would like to sell you something. If that's possible, I guess. My only guess is that that's why they keep spraying arrows off.
Sometimes we did follow some arrows on one particular day that sort of led us off route. But I would say in the vast majority of cases, yes, you can trust the arrows, but just occasionally, for us anyway, we just had a quick check to make sure we were on. But Camino Ninja can highly recommend that.
Yes.
And Google Maps, of course.
Yeah. Was going off season your first choice, or was it a case of availability of vacation time? So, we don't actually have the problem of vacation time anymore, because the way we structure our life now, we are basically free to do what we want as long as we have internet connection. And going off season, well, it was kind of our first choice, because when we started planning all this for real, we realized the Easter would kind of be in our way a little bit, and then we thought we can move it out past Easter, but then it started getting really hot, and I am not super good
We're
with
not
super
good with hot
and
weather.
super sun. So then we moved it back instead and got all the rain and windy weather, but it was worth it.
It was.
Yeah.
So it was our first choice, to avoid crowds so much. It was our first Camino. We wanted to, just take it easy. But it didn't cause us any major problems.
No.
There was enough accommodation even for people that were booking at last minute, day by day. It may mean occasionally you've got to walk a few extra kilometres or cut a stage short, but there is accommodation and we didn't have any issues going out of season.
No. What software did you use to edit?
iMovie. Now originally we didn't think that we'd be able to do YouTube movies.
Well, Keith did all the editing, so if there's any problems, look at him.
Yeah, and they're not polished. We didn't have a Mac to sit there and spend a lot of time. I would say each video took at least an hour and a half.
And then the upload time,
and then
depending
upload time.
on connection and Wi-Fi and all that.
So it's a bit of a commitment to do them, but we really enjoyed doing it.
I really enjoyed you guys' reaction as well.
And iMovie did, I think, an acceptable job.
Yeah.
Without any issues.
I usually make the short videos, but I couldn't figure out how to make them in the upright format, so there's no shorts on YouTube, so they came through Instagram. But
Yeah, by
I
and
might
large,
make them later, we'll see.
Tina handled the social media side more on the shorts and things, but no problem there. Was there any
Okay.
other part to that?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Where did you get your soundtracks? Well,
So-
we made them, we're very musical.
I was tempted to sing, but then Tina's.
You did sing.
I did sing sometimes. I sing all the time. Not well.
But loud and a lot.
Yes. So we are very, very mindful of copyright, which is why personally I took it very hard when Facebook started accusing us of copyright breach. We are extremely respectful of copyright.
Yes.
So we use Epidemic Sound,
You have an account in that.
though there are multiple versions of
Yeah.
that. There are free versions and everything else. We use a paid version of Epidemic Sound.
Yep. Did you use waterproof Gore-Tex shoes? Well, no, but we did consider it, and there is a waterproof version of the shoes we have, and I might try them next. But my shoes are basically worn out, so I'm going to need some new ones soon.
We use Ultra Lone Peak 7s because they have a wide toe box. We did think about waterproof, but we went with the fact that we knew at some point we would get wet feet, and the most
They will
important
not
thing
dry
was
out.
to dry them out.
Yeah.
And waterproof shoes take longer to dry out.
I mean, by stepping in water, I got one wet foot twice. But the shoes, you walk for 20 minutes and you don't think about it anymore because the water seeped out.
Yeah.
The rain has made them wet sometimes, but they were dry the next morning both times. Oh,
Yeah.
all the times that
There's a few days where we had
just
to
rained
dry
down
out
the
the
legs.
shoes, but it worked.
Yeah. Next one.
Yeah.
Did you carry a second pair of shoes? Well, if you count sandals, not really for walking in, but more for going around after the day, when you go in shopping or go do your laundry or whatever. Mine are Mountain Warehouse ones, and Keith's are...
I had a pair of Croc sort of deck shoes, mesh.
Yes, that's right, Crocs, I'm solar.
Mesh shoes, which were really comfortable. They had a toe
Maybe
protection
you
and
should
stuff.
model them.
No, maybe later.
Stay tuned for the gear video.
So yes, we did have a second pair of shoes, but not walking shoes. We had sort of town shoes, effectively.
Yeah.
Sandals.
What shoes did you use? Well, we just covered that one.
Yeah.
Did you use a bag carrying service? No, not as a bag carrying service as such, because there are services where you book in and take your bag every day. But the one day where we had to do the very long hike, we did find a very nice taxi driver to drive our backpacks to the next stop. We did that one day, but not a bag service as such.
Yeah, but there are plenty around, and I know in the Facebook forums there's lots of
Very
discussions.
split opinions on this one, but
And
our opinion is use it if you need to, if you want to, if it helps you, do it.
Absolutely. Whatever you need to do your Camino, do it. Don't feel, and we did not get any criticisms or anything else on the day that we did it.
We saw plenty of people who did ship stuff, and we of course didn't criticize them because it's their choice, it's
their Camino. So no, we didn't, apart from that one day we used a taxi driver. But
you know, if it comes to that, and if my knee, the plan was always, if something starts hurting, we will just do it.
Yeah, it's all about longevity, completing the walk.
Okay, next. How much does your packs weigh? Well, that will be told in the gear video.
Yeah, although
we have a rough one from
briefly, mine weighed probably just over 10 and a half or so initially, because I had Hedwig with batteries and various other things. Tina's was probably just about 8 kilograms to begin with, but we shed. As we went along at various points, we started shedding.
Stuff got left behind.
Yeah, you will be amazed how little you need when you have to carry it.
Yes, and I will come clean here. Keith took some of my heavier stuff for, I'd say, half of the trip, which was
just
very
some
kind.
Lotions and stuff like that, but weight is important. And on some of the days where we were looking at things when we were finding it tough, stuff that you just go through and you think, well, that doesn't weigh anything.
But it did.
When you collect 6 or 7 things together, suddenly you've lost 750 grams, and that matters.
You can feel it. You definitely can. Okay, what month did you walk?
We set off on the 24th of February. We arrived in Santiago on the 24th of March, but that includes at least 4 or so rest days.
What ponchos are you using? The black happy ponchos that we prefer using now, that we've tried both kinds, are Decathlon's own, and they come in different sizes, and I would recommend getting a big size, because then they're longer as well.
Yeah,
they go over your backpack, so they're made for that.
You've seen the ones that we had initially. They had no sleeves.
Meatballs.
They weren't really intended. Yes, we did put them over our backpacks, but that came with its own issues.
Behind, so it puffed them over our heads.
So we're using the Decathlon own brand, and basically I would recommend getting a size maybe a bit bigger, because it will make it more comfortable and it will cover more of your legs.
Especially if you have the water bottle on the front, like I did, otherwise you had to. Because mine was, it fit, but only goes, you'd have to take it out before you could.
Get one with draw cord so that you can pull it down over a hat or your head. Get one with sleeves.
Yes, sleeves, important, people.
Yeah.
Was finding restaurants and accommodation difficult off-season?
No. We did look the day before, the evening before we would hit a route, whether we needed to buy supplies, which was very rare. I think only on a couple of days did we take food with us. But what I would say is, do not trust Google.
Not for opening times. And not for what's around.
You look at stuff that says it's open and it's not, but also it works the other way. Sometimes there's nothing on Google, and at the most convenient time possible, poof, a cafe appears, and then you're good.
What made you choose the Portuguese way? Well, I guess there's more than one thing here. It's a good starter Camino, I think, because it is the flatter one of them. We really want to do the Frances. So that's the one that starts with going over a big mountain. And I just thought,
and the Norte and things like that.
Yes.
But they're much more hilly.
We really like looking at the sea, so that was a big factor too. And we've, of course, watched a lot of walks on YouTube, a lot of Caminos, and that just looks so pretty. So. And
this one was the first one that we saw on YouTube, so it sort of became a bit of a focal point.
Yes. How did you prepare physically for the Camino? Smallly.
We had plans. We had
many plans.
But what I will say is we did diet. So believe it or not, we were more chunky than this.
It's true.
So that made a big difference. but we did not do the fitness regime that we had in mind.
We did
started,
some.
but we were not prepared physically for it.
We
But
still
we
aren't
were
really.
great. You know, it worked out. So
I'll just say this really quickly. We're in Porto now, and to get up to the cathedral, there is quite a steep hill. And we thought, oh, after all this, it'll be easy. It's not easy, people.
yeah, for us anyway.
Yeah,
But if we can do it, anyone can do it.
indeed. What was your biggest surprise?
You go first.
Well, I think there were many amazing moments on the Camino, but I think the biggest surprise where I was sort of like prepared for something else to happen was how easy it was to get our compostelas. We just walked in and got them. I mean, it was, I was ready to start defending each stamp and the distance and standing in queues
none
for
of that.
hours and stuff, but no, we just went straight through. It was just
We'll cover that
perfect.
more on the wrap-up video about getting your Compostela for sure.
And there was one more little surprise, which leads back to what we were just talking about with Google. When we had one day where there was supposed to be zero cafes or anything, and we were bracing for that to be quite a long day because it went uphill and stuff. And then at the most perfect moment, there was a cafe.
Cafes, yeah.
And that was the day of the hailstorms. So while we were sitting in there, it was sunny when we went in, sat down, the ginormous hailstorm came, and we could just look out and not be in it. That was a great thing.
For me, two things really. One was the kindness of strangers, both other peregrinos and the Spanish and the Portuguese people.
Very much agree with that too.
Times when we couldn't find any water, which was only once when we kind of run out, and then a really nice farmer came out and helped.
Yeah.
But also people cheering you on wet days. So kindness of strangers would be number one, and I think the second one was the cleanliness generally of everything. Accommodation and public toilets and restaurants.
What was your favorite part?
That's a tough one.
It's really hard. We just prepared on watching all the little shorts on Instagram to try and remember the first days as well.
When we won't do a cop out and say all of it. For me,
But it's tempting.
For me, I really battle between two. I would choose day number one, not just because it was day number one, but I'll qualify it by saying there was the excitement of the initial day, but also the walking along the coast when we had those really, really high winds and we met our first
Greeno friend.
and so
Francois.
that. And then a close sort of tie with that would be the Pilgrim's Blessing at Armentira
It's amazing.
Monastery.
Yeah.
Don't miss that.
No, don't miss that. My favorite part, well, I think I'll choose a day, even though that's hard too. But day 15, the day of the hailstorm, it was all the things rolled into one in a way. I mean, us sitting there under the bridge and having the hailstone batter us and laughing like crazy, and then there was the perfect moment where the cafe showed up, and that was not on Google, and it was just really great. And we were tired then, and then right when we were just about to reach the destination, there was this perfect little church that was open, and again we stepped in and it starts raining. And we lit candles in there, and there was a stamp, and it was just staggering.
There were some magical moments. It's really, really hard question, is that one.
But there's another moment that was excellent for me. When we had just walked out of that place, we got the chocolate cake, and we had sangria with it. And it started raining so hard, and we were trying to get our ponchos on, standing in the corner by a house, and we were just crying, laughing because we couldn't get into them, and it was like being in a rain shower.
A very good friend of ours, a very experienced hiker, said to me some really wise words, which were, don't worry about the bad weather, because sometimes that brings the most memorable days.
Yes.
And it really did.
That's true. Do you think we've covered that?
What was the hardest challenge, setback, or fear?
Yeah.
So I would say our lack of fitness was my biggest concern.
Yes.
And even though we'd mitigated that with shorter days and everything
Salads and everything.
That was my biggest fear. So I would say actually the outcome actually was more a mental thing than a physical thing, because we
100%.
coped with everything, including the big hill.
Yeah.
So letting go was the biggest thing for me to overcome,
Well,
I guess.
you did raise a good point there, because I have one knee that is just not good, and I was concerned for that. I brought a knee bind this whole. I didn't use it once, but I had it in my backpack just in case. I mean, that was a concern for me.
Yep.
Could I do it?
Yeah.
What about the hills? What about the heat? But we did it.
Yeah. And I think this actually it's coming up is, what did you learn, I think, but basically not to worry about stuff. Don't worry about the weather.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, it's hard, but you just have to do it. So
I think you can't. I mean, we can say that to our heart's content. You have to do it yourself to realize it. That's the whole thing.
but know that we were worried about it.
Yeah.
We are natural planners and worriers.
God, yes.
But it really helped at the Camino.
I mean, we are a bit pampered, aren't we? Really?
Yeah.
But we're also kind of, let's just do it anyway, and if we don't like it, we'll just stop.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just do it anyway. So challenge, that was definitely the hill for me. The hill was my biggest challenge, getting over the hill and the very long day with the slack packs.
Yeah.
What was the most beautiful, impressive, memorable experience on the Camino?
I'm gonna say the Pilgrim's Blessing. That had the biggest impact on me. We are not religious people. However, you are swept up in the history of the Camino. You feel part of a community. You are there to be blessed, whether you are religious or not. You've got these nuns and monks, praying for you and singing for you, and you're sitting there with other peregrinos. So that was the most magical moment for me.
It's really hard to choose for me. There were so many things. I mean, smelling eucalyptus forest for the first time. That was big. That time when there's this shot where there's a wave that just over the lighthouse.
Over the lighthouse. I think that was day 1 or 2.
Yeah. An almost religious experience in these chocolate cream horns at this one specific little bakery. I mean, there's just amazing thing. Oh, the pork we had in Vigo, was it?
Yeah.
The pork from that shop.
No, it's a lot of ours are food related.
Yes. There were so many.
Yeah.
Right, so now we are getting to the more personal questions. So if you're bored with that stuff, now is your chance to cop out. So where do you live? Just the general area.
So
Here's my address. No.
in the cupboard under the stairs. So we are not fully settled yet, and we'll come on to that later. We left Oman, where we lived for 5 years, in September. We are loosely sort of living, or gonna be based, in the southwest corner of Ireland, in County Cork.
Beautiful place. If you
yeah.
want somewhere to visit, that's a good one. Right. How did you meet, and how long have you been together? Well, if you want to go and get your cup of coffee, now it's your time.
No, we haven't got time for that.
Okay, fine, very quickly. We met in, what year was that?
About 2013, I think.
Yeah, we met in, the game World of Warcraft, the big online game. Yeah, we met in that.
And then we were friends for a couple of years, actually, on there. Just chatting about what books we like and things like that.
Yes.
And we gamed together. We're both gamers.
Yeah.
And then we got together in 2015 and we got married in 2018.
Yeah. that's pretty much it. In the Seychelles, it was beautiful.
It was.
Do you still intend to do van life? It turns out yes.
Yes.
That's gonna be next.
Yeah, we're currently in Porto. We'll be leaving Porto tomorrow. Vandalf, our van, he was grey, so it was Vandalf the Grey, is about 98% ready. There's still some niggles to fix.
I can't wait to come back and see what he looks like now.
Yeah, we've not seen him. Some very, very good friends of ours, Bad Wolf, Yorkshire,
Doing their magic.
working their magic on him.
Yeah.
So yes is the short answer, and we will cover that in more detail later.
And then the very last question. Will you walk another Camino? Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
We don't know which one, and we don't know when exactly, but there will be Camino.
Yeah, Caminos in the future for sure. Lots of other adventures. We're actually going to do a little what's next video where we'll cover that in more detail. But yes, I'm afraid you will still be plagued by Chunky Trundler trundling up hills and through mud.
With
and
their
whatever
very
else.
good humour.
So we hope that answers everything.
I mean, I guess we can lift a little bit of the veil about the Caminos. At the moment, we're looking into the Irish Caminos because, as you probably guessed by now, Keith is UK, I'm Danish, so Ireland is good for multiple reasons, mainly because of also visas and Brexit and all that kind of stuff. And we will have plenty of time in Ireland to go and do some Camino there.
So that will be probably the next thing in conjunction with van life.
Yeah.
So if you've got any other questions, please
still
fire them at us. You can always message us directly from Facebook Messenger if
the
you
messenger
want
should be
to.
up because we're getting plenty of last warning. Spam.
Yeah, that's still working. But we'll do our best to answer. We love the comments.
Thank you for them. Thank you everybody.
Thank you
for
so
watching.
much taking the time to interact with us. It was
It really means so much.
a big surprise to us, but wonderful.
It's added a whole new dimension to this Camino that we didn't even imagine. So thank you for it.
So we'll do our best to answer comments as quickly as possible, but if there's something that we've missed, please feel free to message us and directly, and we'll do that. So we hope that's been useful and answered all your questions. And I think it's goodbye for now from the Chunky Trundlers.
Well, you'll see us learn how to van life.
Yep.
Is this the right switch? Ow!
Ow! So there'll be lots of other things, and we've got other videos coming. We've got the gear video and the what's next. And
Maybe
things like
we
that.
will make some sort of cooking thing about one-pot meals in a van.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, take good care, everybody. Until we next time. Bye.
Bye.